Hi guys, this is Vita with Life Her Way, and this is another video for Vlogmas. I think this will be day 3. I hope I'm not already off, y'all. I hope I'm not already off. I think this is going to be day 3. So, and I'm trying to, as I've stated in the past, I try to do batch videos so that I'm not scrambling trying to come up with content for the month. But as you can tell by the title, y'all, we're about to talk about a little something, something. So if you caught the video before, I hope I don't get these things out of order. The video before, you should have heard me kind of talk about me seeing an ex, a guy I used to date. And I saw him at my cousin's wedding. So today, I just wanted to kind of discuss a little further because I know in that video I made statements about how I wasn't interested in dating. And I know that for my family and for my friends, my closest friends that really know me, they keep telling me how I just haven't met the right person. So let's just be clear. This is I'm sure I brought him up. He was the guy that I used to always call my spinning eye bag. And I don't know if you understood what I just said. I said my spinning eye bag, my spend the night bag. That's who he was. He was my spend the night bag. And that's how I referred to him. So my family knew him as spend the night bag. And me and spend the night bag, because that's what we're gonna call him, because this is a little bit of story time. So me and spend the night bag had a great time together when we were together. And when it went sour quickly. And so when we saw each other over the weekend, as I stated in my previous video, if you didn't see it, I could tell that he was trying to spin the block. I could tell that he missed me. I can tell. I mean, not even just tell. I mean, he called me. He called me that night. Not that night. I saw him that night. And then he called me last night. So what was last night? Sunday. So, of course, the wedding was Saturday. Didn't talk to him Saturday night. We texted a little bit, but that was prior to me getting settled in. Because remember, if you saw the previous video, we didn't get in till around 11:30, and I didn't go to bed till about 12:30. So he called me last night, and we talked for about an hour or so. And I even shared with him, because we were talking about the wedding. So we were talking about marriage. We were talking about my cousin's wedding. And I just made it very clear to him, like, I have no interest in marriage at all. And he was like, what? And he was like, for real? Well, what, why? And I said, well, I have multiple reasons why I'm not interested, but my family just keeps saying that it's because I haven't found the right one. And, when the right one comes along, you'll know it, blah, blah, blah. But what I was trying to even express to my family was there are many reasons why, like, I believe women in their 50s, I think women in their 50s are happier single, but many of them won't admit it. I think some women are they're in love with love. I think some women just can't be alone. I think that some women will rather have a piece of a man than no man at all. But I have some more reasons why I can't speak for all women, but these are the reasons why I feel that I'm happier single in my 50s. And you know what? I'm not ashamed to admit it. So the first reason is, I say it all the time, y'all. I enjoy my peace. My peace is too precious to negotiate. I'm not going to negotiate my peace. I'm not going to sit around and try to explain. I mean, I was in a relationship for almost 10 years where I had to make excuses to come home. Because all I wanted was peace and quiet. But like, we drove to work together. We basically lived together. We drove to work together. We ate lunch together every day because we worked in the same town. Like, there was really, the only downtime we had was the time that we were at work prior. I mean, not prior, other than eating lunch. But other than that, for almost 10 years. So I remember making excuses to come home, like, oh, I'm going to go home and wash clothes. And of course, I was always, so you can wash clothes here, or I got to go check my mail, or are you going to come back tonight? You know, and it was just, and I know some people may be like, ooh, that's a bit much, you know. It wasn't like he was being overbearing and like I couldn't leave. Because if I had to be honest, you know, I fed into it in the beginning until I realized I didn't like it. So I started something I couldn't finish. You know how the old folks say, don't start nothing in a relationship that you don't plan on finishing. Like, if you make a man's plate, you know, and you make his plate, but then all of a sudden, you know, somebody come up to you like, girl, don't start now, you can't finish, because if you ever marry him, that's what he's gonna think. He's gonna think you always gonna make his plate, whatever. But that peace that I would long for, you know, I would have to make an excuse to come home just to get peace and quiet, or come home and watch what I wanted to watch on TV, you know. And anyway, I say that all to say that my peace is not negotiable. My peace at 50 really, it's not a luxury. My peace at 50 is like oxygen. It's like breathing. Like, I need it. The next thing again, I can't speak for all women, but I really like myself. Like this, I really like myself, and I don't have a desire to change, to fit in, to fit around. I don't have a desire to change to be with somebody. And I know being in a relationship takes sacrifice. Being in a relationship, you must compromise. I get that. And at this point, y'all, I'm really comfortable in my routine. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable in the rhythm that I have in my life. And not to say that a relationship would, you know, take me out of my norm, but I know right now I'm not willing to bend. So there's no need in bringing someone in my space where I'm not willing to bend, you know. And again, I'm talking to y'all, but these were the conversations that I kind of had with my family. So I might go back and forth with, well, they said, and, you know, so with that being said, you know, when we were talking about how being in a relationship, yeah, you must compromise and you must sacrifice. And I just kept saying, right now, I'm not interested. I mean, I don't even know what else to say. Except like that's my phrase. I'm not interested. Instead of saying no, I'm not interested. Actually, I said it today when some of the staff were putting up Christmas decorations, and somebody said, Vita, come on over here and help us put up this Christmas tree. I just looked at her, I said, no, thank you, I'm not interested. And so one of the other ladies just started laughing. She said she's not interested. Now, I did go and hang a couple of ornaments, and I walked away. And I said, see, I'm a team player. But again, I'm not interested in having my flow, having my rhythm, having anything disrupted, even to the point of having to stop what I'm doing to, I'm saying stop what I'm doing, but like if something were to happen with Spin a Night Bag, I would have to make time to go to where he is in Memphis. And I'm not interested in that. You know, my cousin kept saying, you know, well, your birthday's coming up in January. Well, maybe something. I mean, and like I said, she has rooted for this. She was the one who kind of pushed it together. She was like, you know, I know this guy. He's, you know, at that point, he was her fiance's friend. And I really think you guys would, you know, work well together, do well together, be well together, whatever. And I'm not going to say that this is not a good guy. Spin a Night Bag is a good man. And he's going to make somebody extremely happy. That's all I'm going to say. He's going to make somebody extremely happy. The next thing I think that women in their 50s are really happy, but, you know, many of them are just not, they're not comfortable in saying out loud, is that they're done raising other folks' kids. You know, sadly, just because a person is in their 50s or beyond, it doesn't mean that he's mature. It doesn't mean that, you know, he's gained a skill set in his adulthood that has afforded him a lifestyle that could help him and help his significant other. Age means nothing. Age means nothing. So she's done. I'm done. We're done, you know, raising other women's children at 50. Another thing for me, but again, I know I'm saying it for me, but in general, women in their 50s will tell you that freedom at 50, it hits different. It hits totally different. There's this interest that you, or okay, I don't want to speak as if I'm talking to people like all women in their 50s. So let me rephrase it and let me say when I hit 50, I felt like, okay, I want to do a little bit more traveling. I like the train. I love the Amtrak. I love traveling on the Amtrak. And so I will just go up to the Chicagoland area on the Amtrak just to be on there for 6 hours. It doesn't even bother me. We now have a plane that will take us there in an hour. One of the local airports here. But I was telling my nephew, I said, but I like the train. He was like, you're crazy. You could be in Chicago in an hour, you know, but I like the train anyway. So, but that's for me, freedom hit differently when I turned 50. So like, again, wanting to travel more. I remember being in my ex's space and having to negotiate decorating. Now, again, y'all, I've had my house. I had my house the whole time I was with my ex. My house, I've had my house for what, 20 something years now? 21 years. So I've had my house is paid for. I've had my house for 21 years. So I didn't need to necessarily negotiate with decorating with him. He decorated the way he decorated because I had my own space. But sometimes I just felt like it would look better over there. But not, again, it would, but that was his space. But I don't have to negotiate my space. I don't have to, you know, look at somebody and say, well, you know, that might be a little bit too girly, so let's not do it like that. It might be a little too bright, you know, or whatever. So
I don't know what that was. I lay by myself, but I promise you I heard some. Lord.
anyway, let's get off of, I don't know what that was, y'all. We're going to go to the next one. I really think if women were honest being in your 50s and being comfortable in our singleness, it's because we've already survived heartbreak. Many women in their 50s survived heartbreak, most of us probably prior to our 30s, but after 30, or if you haven't experienced one after 30, and or even now, I'm Lord help you, but I think that having to deal with disappointment and or healing from another relationship, it's not appealing to me. And I think that's the reason why I'm so hard on men. I think that's the reason why I go into relationships with definitive parameters. And if I'm honest, I don't go into relationships looking for love.
Oh my God.
I go into relationships looking for compatibility. You know, do we enjoy each other? Do we like the same things? Do we make each other laugh? But love is not, and has not been, I should say, been one of the main things that I look for in a relationship, because I think that it's so fleeting. So, and I'm not interested in having another heartbreak. I would rather not be in love with a person. And let me say it like this. I would rather know that we are compatible and we have a good time. We respect one another. We honor one another. I want to make sure that what I want to say is, what's love got to do with it when you're in a relationship? That's really what I want to say. And I don't want to go off on a tangent. I don't want people to think like she don't want to be in love. In actuality, it's not that I don't want to be in love, but I don't have to be in love in order to be in a relationship. I don't know. I feel like I might get some kickback on this one. And I'm okay with that, because what I know I want is to be cared for. I know I want to be respected. I know I want
Lord. Why can't I say compatibility? I almost had to grab myself to say compatibility.
I want that. And I think that and I want friendship. I want true friendship. And sadly, if I had to be honest, that's what I felt I had with my ex. Because what I thought, and when I thought I loved him, I had to come to the realization that wasn't love. You respected him. You wanted the best for him. You wanted to ensure that he was protected. You wanted to make sure that he was well taken care of. You know, I can go on and on, but when I really looked at it, it wasn't really love. Again, I can go down a rabbit hole with that, but I won't. So we're already 20 minutes in, and I think I want to get a couple of more in on why women in their 50s are more happy single, but many times they won't admit it. I think that many women have in our 50s, we have.
Do I have a fever blister? Something on my lip. I'm sorry, y'all. What is it? Oh, it's so cold here. My lips were peeling. That's what that is. I'm like, what the heck is that? I have some Vaseline on my lips, but here we go. So, I digress.
Another reason why women in their 50s are happier single, but many times they won't admit it, is because, and I promise you, I just had this conversation with Spend a Night Bag last night. I have watched, women in their 50s have watched many, many relationships. And to see the cheating, to see the lying, to see the misery, to see the performative social media love that you see, to see your friends look exhausted, to see her in that state, but yet say out loud, I'm good, I'm good. It's like, I don't want that shit. I don't want it. I don't want no parts of it. So many women in their 50s really are happier single because nobody wants to go through that. And of course, everybody won't. We know this. Everybody won't even go through it. So that's not to say every woman will have that experience. I'm just saying, being in my 50s and having seen all of those things, it's like, whew, who wants that? And all I see now are a whole bunch of divorces. What I see now are a whole bunch of separations. What I see now is a whole bunch of, we're not gonna get a divorce, but you live over here, I live over here, and we just gonna do our thing. It's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. So I don't want that. So I don't want that. And last but not least, and again, I can go on and on, but last but not least, I am not, and I think I already said that. I think I said this earlier. I talked about how I'm not willing to, well, some women would rather have a piece of a man than no man at all. So I'm not willing to simply say I'm booed up. Now, I ain't gonna lie, I did kind of fall a little bit when everybody in my band, I knew they were going to bring their significant other to the Jeffrey Osborne concert, and I just didn't want to be, the odd man out and bringing one of my homegirls. I didn't want to bring a good girlfriend. I wanted to have a guy with me. I wanted to have somebody with me. So I asked my ex and he obliged, and plus it was his birthday weekend. So why not? I just used that. I'm like, here's your birthday gift. Come on. But in that sense, I just didn't want to be the odd man out. But I'm not going to settle for a piece of a man just to say that I have somebody. That's it. That's all. I'm 25 minutes in, y'all. I just wanted to talk about, these are the reasons why some women, let me say it. These are the reasons why I know I am happier. I have more peace at 50 being single. And I'm not afraid to say it. This is Vita with Life Her Way. How do y'all feel about that? Are you really happy being single? And if you could say something to your younger self now, what would you tell her? What would you say? Run, girl, run. What would you tell her? All right, guys. So glad you guys are joining me on this journey of Vlogmas. I think, again, this should be officially day 3. And if not, you'll see the day somewhere in the title. All right. Y'all have a great one. Bye.